Do you hear me? Yeah? A very warm welcome to this focus session called Leading Through Complexity. And let's see, we can jump forward here. This is it. We work for Sandvik. Sandvik is a very security-minded company. We like safety. So please bear in mind today in this room that your exits are there and there. And also, the meeting point is Nils Eriksson's plan. Good, perfect. We're all safe. This is us. So, I will introduce these fantastic colleagues in just a short while. But before I do that, I would like to start with a very simple image. So, imagine you're working on a house. So, it's not a new house. It's a very old house. It's been built over decades, and it's been expanded, refined, and filled with craftsmanship and features that have been proven to work. So this is a really valuable house, but at the same time, it needs to evolve. It needs to become more efficient. It needs to be easier to maintain and ready for the future. So, house transformations, they don't start with the tools. It starts with looking at the house. So with understanding what's already there, what makes it strong, what needs to be improved, and what feels hardest to change. Because the truth is, the greater something is, the harder it is to touch. Now, in the next step, it's about the people living in the house. So because you can renovate and redesign, but if no one changes how they live in it, nothing's really going to happen. And then finally, someone needs to step back, look at the whole house with all its people, and think, what can be changed even if it's uncomfortable? And that's where courage comes in. So this house, it's of course a metaphor for a global and very complex company like Sandvik. Our company is built on decades of engineering and genuine expertise. And that's why change is not just a technical question, but also a very human one. And that's exactly the journey that we're going to explore today from 3 different perspectives. But again, before I let you introduce yourselves, let's introduce Sandvik. So like I said, a global high-tech engineering group with solutions for the manufacturing, mining, and infrastructure industries. And let's have a quick look at what that means.
The urge to collaborate and innovate is what characterizes humanity. We are passionate about innovation and collaborate to find sustainable solutions to solve global challenges. The sustainable mine of the future is electrified, automated, and digitalized. Our solutions are driving the shift. Cities and societies need metals and minerals for the green transition. Eco-efficient rock processing is driving the shift. Our innovations and solutions support the shift towards automated and sustainable manufacturing. And new technologies revolutionize manufacturing, achieving more with less. A future circular society requires innovation in combination with reusing, recycling, and rethinking. We make the shift, advancing the world through engineering.
Yes. Okay. Let's go to the main characters of this house. So let's introduce you. Let's start with you, Taline. So who are you and what occupies your mind at work?
So I'm the president of Cimatron. It's a manufacturing and design software company within the Sandvik group. And what occupies my mind is how to work with modernization and adding new tools, and at the same time modernizing the organization, the people, the product, and creating business value.
Yes. Antonia, what about you?
Yes, my name is Antonia Dåderman. I run the business support team within the CIO office of Sandvik Corment. And what occupies my mind, I would say, is the gap of how we are talking about AI, how we are doing pilots, and how we can create real business value and leveraging that within our organization.
Great. And Annika?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Annika Hultqvist and I'm CIO at the business area machining that makes cutting tools to the manufacturing industry. What's on my mind, that's really how to bring the courage into the organization to be able to prepare for make us AI and agent ready. I think that's the courage we need.
Yes, thank you. So we already have 3 perspectives here. So we have technology, people, and leadership. Taline, again, so you lead Cimatron, but what does it actually mean to modernize something that already works so well?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I started at Cimatron, we started looking at the product itself, and the product has been there for a long time. We turned 41 last year, so our domain knowledge, the expertise, the customers' loyalty is there, but we still need to modernize to be able to have speed and also agility and finding new ways to doing business. So it started with basically defining what not to change, because that's what we need to do. And that's how it all started. So we defined that we were going to keep our domain knowledge, that is our algorithms, calculations, and everything that is specific for our software, and then scale up and modernize everything surrounding.
Yeah, so can you give a concrete example, like what did you keep and what do you change?
Yeah, we kept as I said, the algorithms and everything that is basically strictly connected to our design and how we generate designs and how we generate the manufacturing paths. So basically the core of our product. And then we looked at, okay, so how does the architecture look? Will it support us for the future, for new operating systems, for new ways of working, possibly even new types of customers? So that's what we started looking at. So it's the data assets, how we access the data, how we transfer the data between the different parts of our software and to other softwares, and the base architecture.
This is a lot. So how do you get people on board with that transformation?
We basically started with, by starting with the analysis of what to keep. That's when people started feeling safe, that we're not going to turn everything upside down. So we looked at it in different ways. We looked at it from if we're going to start off with a completely new platform, if we're going to keep part of the platform, and what are we going to change. So we had the teams involved in that, and that created safety for them to know that, okay, so their domain knowledge would be there still, and our customers wouldn't need to change the way they work 100% all the time. So that people felt a little bit safe. And finally, we also had leadership is very important in these kind of changes, because stepping in, we are an acquired company within the group. Stepping into a large group is daunting as itself. So we needed to make sure that everybody was part of this transformation. So the leadership team, including myself, has been a part of the transformation, plotting out everything that we should keep, and also I saw it as upskilling for myself, and then they also, our employees and the teams involved, felt that okay, so we have the courage now to start testing new things, and stuff that were unthinkable are thinkable now. We are doing it, so that's very exciting to see.
That sounds amazing. Yes, it's about people getting ready as well. So Antonia, when you hear this, what does it actually take for people to start adopting something new?
Well, if we take the AI area, for example, I think my personal belief is that you need to start in your personal sphere first and finding your specific area at home, if it's gardening or something, where you can play around. And then you build your AI muscle, you build the confidence, and you build the intuition of what you can use it for. And then you can elevate that.
Yeah, so tell us about some personal use cases.
Yeah, I have had a couple of lectures around Sandvik about AI adoption, and then it's like, oh, it's really cool, I've tried it out, I wrote a few prompts, but I don't know what to use it for. So then we need to find the personal use case. So we started looking into, so what's your hobbies? What are you doing? It can be everything from, oh, it's my workout buddy. Create a workout schedule for me 3 times a week. I can update the weights and it can push me as a personal PT, for example. Then it can be gardening. It can be your wine fridge. You can index that one. You can have like the mental thing if you have 3 kids and everything. It's sports, it's activities, it's doctor's appointment, to have your agent at home helping you sort all of that out. And then you get comfortable with, oh, I can do this. It schedules reminders. I can build a skill here. Oh, this didn't work, this worked. And I put a lot of thought in why is it so easier to adopt it in personal sphere than just in the workplace. Because if we're just handing out, oh, here you have AI tools, please use it, then people get stuck in writing prompts. And if we have a scale that you have, oh, write prompts here, and then you have the super cool AI team who is solving everything, we have a gap in between here that is so under-leveraged, where we need to elevate those teams into getting AI into those regular processes. The way of working, our current superstars, we need to help them learn these tools in order for us to actually get the real business value out of this.
So out of pure personal interest, tell us about the wine fridge.
Yeah. Good example. So that person took pictures of all their bottles in their wine fridge and indexed them, and then built their AI agent to be like, okay, so I did this pasta carbonara on a Tuesday. What wine goes to this? Oh, you should try this one. And then when I'm at Systembolaget, and what do I want to purchase? You should try these. So it started to help them elevate their wine fridge.
Wow. So, do I hear clapping? What do you think is the difference between testing AI and actually using it for work?
I think it's the intuition. So, oh, I can test, write a few prompts, try it within Copilot. It's really cool. It gives me responses. But when you face a problem and then automatically go, oh, this is what I'm using AI for, then you start to feel the intuition, and that's the difference, I would say.
Okay, so why do people get stuck, and what unlocks them?
I think it's courage. I think that we talk a lot about, oh, fail fast, failures where we learn things, and that's really true. But somewhere in the back of our mind, we're a little bit afraid of that. So that's why it's easier to start in your personal sphere. If I fail at my gardening agent, nothing's going to happen except my plants die. But and then bringing it in. So I think courage is the main thing why people get stuck.
Okay, so it's about courage and behaviors, not tools, really. So Annika, listening to Antonia, what does this mean for you when you're leading transformation?
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's more about the behaviors than the tools. And I think it's clear that how important it is with leading with changing behaviors rather than focusing on the technology. So I think that's...
So what challenges are you focused on when leading transformations like this?
Yeah, it's a lot about changing more ways of working, processes, to adapt to that. But then it's also a big challenge that I see is really to get the time and the priorities to really focusing on what Antonia described here. Because here I think we can all see that we have long lists of priorities, and we have some of these senior experts with all the knowledge, but they are stuck in performing here and now and really focusing on delivering here and now. And this is where I think we need to help them with the leadership to prioritize, so we can really get moving towards transforming to where we are going, so to say.
Yes. So you talk a lot about courage. But what does that mean in practice?
It means several things, but for me and where we are with the transformation here and now, that's more to say, simplify. And with that I mean, like, make sure to remove things, not just add things. Make sure that we are standardizing and not just saying yes to everything because we had done that before. And another area where we need some courage, that is also to focus. there's a lot of things we need to do, yes, but we need to start to do the right things first. And thirdly, I think it's also about daring to lead without knowing the end game, because things will change. And I think sometimes it's challenging when you don't have the final picture in front of you.
Yeah. So is that where courage is the hardest, do you think?
Yeah, it's a lot about daring to push forward without knowing really the full picture. And of course, these days technology moves really fast, so you know that whatever system landscape you prepare for, something new will come up. New technologies will come up all the time.
Yeah, so in those uncertainties, how do you move things forward without creating chaos or confusion?
Yeah, this is where I think very important to start small. I think we heard a couple of good examples here. Start with yourself or an area where you feel comfortable, and then build on that. And here I think it's also a lot about finding an area where you feel comfortable, but where you also have some right mind, to open minds people to start and test and try and use. And then of course, when you get some value, you communicate, and then you spark some interest with others, and then you can continue.
Yes. Okay, so we talked about all three here now. We have new technology, we have people, and we have leadership. But in reality, we rarely have all of them at the same time. But when transformations actually work, how do these pieces of forces go together?
Yeah, I can share my view on it, and I think, of course, all three of them are very important. But I would say it starts with the leadership, because with the right leadership, you build the behaviors of the people that is needed to create value from the technology.
Okay, so let's jump over to everybody's hate-love subject, so AI. So what is a hard truth about AI that we don't talk about enough?
I think in my view, AI it brings stuff up to the surface. It's uncomfortable because it becomes transparent what is working and what is also not working. But I think that's also the opportunity of it, because if you didn't know what was under the hood, then you wouldn't be able to fix it. So that's my view. At least that's what we experienced.
Are we moving too fast, do you think, or too slow?
I think we're maybe doing both at the same time. I think as companies, and I can speak to our own Cimatron, sometimes we move a little bit too fast in terms of adopting the technology, but we are not there yet in terms of mindset and processes and the leadership and also the behaviors. So I think the companies, in my view, who succeed, they slow down just enough for them to catch up on the technology, and then they can go at the same pace.
Okay, so let's zoom out in more general terms. Our industry. What do people misunderstand about working in tech in industry today? What would surprise them, you think, Taline?
I think what would surprise them is that it's much more interdisciplinary than you think. It's not only tech. I mean, you work with innovation, you work with business leaders, customers, other like finance and other types of communications in HR. So it's not only just tech. That's what I think people misunderstand most.
Agree. Mm-hmm. So we are nearing sort of the end of this conversation, but I have one more question for all of you. So if someone in the audience wants to get started right away, what is one small thing they can do already tomorrow? I'm going to look at you first.
I would say go home, find your personal area, and then just start playing around, having fun, and set up your agent for your plans or for your renovation or for your workout buddy, or try it out, because this skill is so important. And one person in my team did analogy that, oh my God, it's like when I showed my parents the computer for the first time. Yeah. Oh, this is fantastic. You can do everything. And they were like, but what can I do? Oh, you can pay your bills, you can do e-commerce, you can do this. I can go to the bank, it works perfectly. And I can go to the store and buy my clothes. Yes, but it's so powerful. And the person realized that we are in that transition now. What should I use AI for? I can just write the invitation myself. And that's true. But with this acceleration that we are on, it's so important to actually learn this because it's going in light speed.
Absolutely. Any other perspectives? If somebody wants to start already today.
Yeah, I mean, I can go. I think for me personally, having kids, a teenager that goes to high school here in Sweden, they, how they calculate things in maths changes.
Yep.
And it changed since I was in high school. So I use that for helping her with her maths.
Amazing.
And that's actually quite simple. It gives you step by step. It's very good. Yeah. I recommend that.
I can build on that. If you are in my age, then you need some rehab. And that is perfect to get exactly the schedule. And you get
amazing.
Exactly. And it helps, I can tell you.
Wonderful. Okay, so we have a few more minutes, but let's try and summarize this conversation. So it's not about new tools. It's about the house, of course. It's about building on what already exists. It's about making it usable in everyday work and having the courage to actually change. But I know we're going to open up for the audience to ask questions as well, but I know that this question always comes up, so I just want to ask them anyway. So how did you each end up in this space, tech and industry? Was it personal interest or?
It was my sister, actually, who started at KTH here in Stockholm. And she was like, you're going to become an engineer. And that's how it all started for me.
Yeah, amazing. What about you?
I started in musical theater, actually, and I love the creativity of that. And then I wanted to have an academic challenge, and my father's an engineer and an inspiration, so then I wanted to try KTH and see what that was about, and absolutely fell in love with it. So that's how I use my creativity, but combined with tech today.
Amazing. What about you, Annika?
Yeah, for me it was more interesting to take everything apart when I was young and then trying. Sometimes I got it all back together as well. But then I remember my father said to me, you need to go to the technical school because I think you like technology. And I said, no, I'm going to go to the economics with all my friends. So I did. But then later on, of course, I realized this is the path. And I also said I would never work for Sandvik because I grew up in where we had the headquarters.
Yeah.
And here I am 20 plus years later. So
we're so happy about that.
I can change. People can change.
Wonderful. Okay, so thank you all so much for these perspectives, and we'd love to hear from you in the audience. And I think there's a woman with a microphone somewhere. There she is. If you have a question, please raise your hand, or you can just shout as well, if that's possible. Okay. Yes.
I have a question to Taline. AI is known to be a little bit worse in mathematics than text. What tool did you use with that?
So actually, the algorithms and the calculations in mathematics are stuff that we do on our own, so we have our experts in it. But we're using Claude AI for generating the code and having it taught with our own expertise.
There's a question here, Mona.
Yes. Just because you said Claude.
Not an expert.
A lot of people I talk to are hesitant to release their repos and their code to, for instance, Claude or any of the other. How did you tackle the legal and the safety aspects, like your core algorithms and stuff? Do you let that into the...
No.
No.
The algorithms are in our GitHub. And so it's just the generation of the code that is done outside.
And how did you promote the safety among your engineers and developers of what they could and couldn't do, should and shouldn't do?
Yeah, we have actually, within the group, we have a very good CIO office at the group and also within our own business areas. And we have CISOs in every area that help us to look at how do we create safe development methods, how do we store things. So it is, from within the group, we have quite rigid security practices.
Strict rules.
Yes.
For you.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe it's a little bit of a different approach. So I work in games, and at least my company, we were trying to implement more AI into development of our core tech and not the art itself. But as a manager, I receive a lot of backlash per se, from designers, from engineers. Everybody was like, no, beep AI, I hate AI, all of those shenanigans. We did try to go on the other angle, we're gonna start introducing from easier, boring automation, when we wanted to solve a conflict. Now, I think I quite would love some advice on this one, because I really would want my team to use AI a little bit more. I feel like they disregard the fact that they can pick up the boring stuff. But even by introducing that, they're like, no, you're gonna replace us very soon. And especially in games, we've been facing a lot of layoffs rounds lately, so they feel they built a lot of walls with AI. How would you recommend me to ease in those conversations?
I can start, but maybe not exactly what you're asking for. But if I start, maybe you can build on to it to give her the perfect answer. But I think also here, it's about the leadership. To Taline's point, you build the trust with the people that needs to get this work done. If they know they are safe, if they know they have different roles moving forward, then of course it will be easier. So that would be my...
And I think I will tag along to that. We actually had a similar situation recently. And for us, it's, I think it was someone within the group who said that with AI tools, we generate 10 times more in terms of code over just a couple of months. And I think that's very interesting. And using those kind of things, it's not about getting rid of people. It's actually becoming more efficient. And I think you said it's moving so fast. So we cannot, as companies, lag behind. We need to be at the same speed as tech. So that's what I would, put. But we had the same conversation, and I told my engineers that I want you guys to be smarter than the AI, because in the end, you will need to teach our models to become even better. So I think it's their personal development you can work with.
They can become agent leaders.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I really agree with that the AI intuition as well, where to use it, that in some areas AI is perfect, but in some areas the human touch is even more important.
Yeah.
So where can we use AI to make it efficient and make it easier for us, and then where should we really focus on the human touch in this? And by educating on that and letting them play around with that, they can themselves learn that AI intuition and seeing that it's not about replacements, it's about sanity checking, getting a sounding board and developing from that.
I have a bit of a follow-up question, but have you heard the pushback? Because this is one of the pushback I get, is that I don't want to be the one who debugs the AI code. Because I've heard that many times. I personally, I code as well, and when I use AI, I still have to debug, and it's harder for me because I don't write it myself, so I don't know where the errors is at. How would you lead from that conversation? Because again, in games, I'm the only woman in a team of 25, so they're like, no, stop with the AI one. I don't want the AI at all. It's hard for me to convince them to give it a shot. If it doesn't work, we throw it away. If it doesn't work, but they don't even want to try, and that's the pushback I get. I don't want to be the AI debugger. Have you ever had that?
No, I can't say I've had that. But what we are using is that we do testing of our own code and debugging, and we have actually introduced a lot of automation via AI lately, which basically takes away the boring stuff, as I think one of my colleagues said. So I think that's maybe something that you could look at.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Please.
You could answer.
Okay.
What you said, that AI is surfacing the things that actually weren't working.
Exactly.
And this is the thing, one of the things, if you have the good engineering standards that are practiced by humans already, that your changes are not huge. They're smaller changes, they're easier to review, easier to spot errors, and you actually introduce, like have that same standards actually for AI to follow, that will come to the, okay, AI generated code, it's small. So you can easily debug, review, understand, reason about it. So that's the way, maybe how, like having the good engineering standards first for the team, for engineers to follow, and then using the same for AI.
I think we have one done there. Sorry, I know you have a lot of questions, but here we are run out of time. I think they're gonna kick us out, unfortunately. Yes. But if you have questions when this session close, yeah. Oh, really? This is until 2, or they?
No, it's actually I think it's 3.
Okay, perfect. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
But no,
I'm so
don't
afraid
worry.
they're gonna kick me out and charge me extra. So yes, we can continue. Yeah, I think they have a question there. Yes.
Well, I really like to be inspired. I try to use agents myself, but I would like to hear your personal best tips for agents that might not just be organizing calendars and so on, but for leaders, good prompting tips would be really nice to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it started actually when I was on maternity leave, and I was having so many thoughts in my head about, like, we were moving and we were having I got a big plant from one of my best friend, and she said, please keep it alive, and I kill all my plants. So then I did an agent to help me water that one. So by playing around with that, then when I brought that into my professional setting, I have one from, like, my personal development. When I get feedback, I add it into the agent itself and say, like, oh, I got this feedback, this is my thoughts about that, what do you think? And also setting up this, like, leadership team of agents that can support me in my decisions and getting other perspectives. That's how I use it.
I think there's someone over there.
Yes, she's waited a
I'm
long
over
time.
Sorry, I need to ask. Use microphone. Yes.
Thank you. I'm a student that is just in the beginning of the learning QA, so I would like to ask, how do you test all the things? Do you have like a test environment? Do you have separate test environment, or is who is doing the testing? How do you know that you get the right answer?
I can take that. We do have like a test environment, and it is outside. It is before our build environment when we actually release the software to the customers. I mean, how you know if you're testing the right things? It's a little bit of our expertise over time, but also questions that we get into the support from customers. So it's a mixture, I would say. You need to also understand how the customers use the software, because 100% of the customers will not use the software as you designed it to be. They will use it in other ways, and other stuff might come up. You should get the same answer, but that's what we would tend to find. Yeah, exactly. Mm. But that's also the craftsmanship of it. Mm.
Hello. We heard about software development. AI is really good, and we feel the effects. And personal use is great. But then in internal productivity across the company, are you able to embed AI in a systematic way? Did you switch ways of working, processes, and are you able to measure the effects of it?
We are on that journey within my team now to equipped with the toolbox, and we have we use Copilot internally, and we have a few of us who are doing the Copilot Studio license, and then also trying out in our processes to be this middle layer that I talked about, how we can elevate those processes. So how can we sanity check when we have our internal invoicing? How can we do it when we use it in our different systems? So we are currently on that journey, but also to get the business productivity in all the different functions, because we cannot only rely on our fantastic AI team to come and save us and do all the AI. It's important that we have all the teams get ready for this and implement them in their regular process. And here's where we need the superstars that we already have today.
Yeah, and I think this relates a little bit to what I touched upon earlier as well. This is the hard part, to get those people freed up that knows the processes, that can really change them to be more adaptive to use more AI, because they are built of 150 years of this in this industry for hardware sales, and we need to now adapt them. So in some areas I think we have come far, and in others there's quite a lot more to do.
Yeah. Hi. So it's easy to sort of get this perspective of where we are now, but do you view the long-term effects of, like, nowadays we are trying to use AI, but we have knowledge. We've sort of learned our skill sets over years without AI. So what happens in the future when, if we hand over more and more to AI and we see new generations come into the workplaces and the rest of society, being comfortable learning, or sort of, it's a bit of a, I'm flustering a bit, but how do we view, like, this, what will happen then when people rely more and more on AI to do most of the things for us, so we won't even be able to check it anymore? Are there risks, and how do you view that in a work setting?
Of course, it's a risk, and when I was in like high school and stuff, it was like you cannot use Wikipedia when you were writing your reports, and I think that sanity check comes more and more as well, to lift those risks and talk about them. And you cannot use not company approved AI tools, for example, and having that hygiene factor within the company. But I can really see that when we are getting the younger super AI native employees coming into our company, that they will challenge us, and we need to have that risk management across the organization. But it's a very, very interesting and relevant question, but no right answer at this moment, I would say.
Because I like that you mentioned Wikipedia, because I'm a Wikipedian myself. And I tend to tell people that, no, you still can't use Wikipedia as a source. Wikipedia isn't a source. But Wikipedia provides sources for the text. So you can use Wikipedia to get a summary, and then you need to go to the sources that are provided, because they can be wrong.
Yes.
And then hopefully you will then change what's written on Wikipedia. Update it.
Good advice.
But, yeah, thank you.
I would like to ask about the term called AI hallucination. I don't know if many of us are familiar with the term in the room. So that is a thing when you believe truly in what AI tells you, but it's not necessarily the right thing. And for example, you mentioned that you built AI leadership bots to get an answer from a feedback, etc. So how do we evaluate what we actually get from these bots is actually right? Because what I've started to realize is that I feel AI started to have a conversation with each other, because when I give a feedback to a colleague, probably they will also go ahead and write it to AI and then get the answer from AI, which I will ask to mine. So how do we stay relevant in this? And how do we really understand or protect ourselves from not getting hallucinated?
Also a very relevant question. I would say for me personally, it's more about getting other perspectives, because I feel I've been in the workforce now for 6 years since I graduated from KTH, and I can already feel like this is the way of working. I feel this is the track, and then just to get other perspectives. If I was at a very junior startup with 3 people, how would the process then look? Oh, you wouldn't have a process for this. So to get that other perspective and then take that into account to do my own assessment of it. But I had that one just a couple of months ago. I hadn't put in the red days in my calendar for the Swedish holidays. So I wrote it into Edge and I got from Copilot, this is the red days, and I started and I was like, doesn't really feel right. Like we have really important management meetings on like this public holiday. How does this work? Okay, maybe next one. And then I realized all the answers were wrong. And it's so important to also get those realizations like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't just trust it blindly and check other sources.
Maybe I can add on, because I think what we have started to do now is also that when you want to use the AI-generated materials, you do it as a small group, and you're doing it in different roles with different positions. You have your own base of information, and this is where you get different answers depending on what you work with and what you have already asked, what information you have used lately. So I think this is also another way to just safeguard that you get what you need, and then you run those questions. I think that could be a good way to do it.
So this is my cue, I think. So we have 2 more minutes. We have 1 more minute. And I just want to say thank you to this amazing panel. Applause. And also thank you so much to all of you for asking such brilliant questions and listening to us today. And I just want to say there are a lot of cool jobs with us. We have sales in 150 countries. We are 45,000 employees. Please check it out. It's on careers there. And also please follow our channels. And if you have any further questions, I'm sure these girls are more than willing to answer them on LinkedIn. Yes. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.